You're listening to podcast episode 25, my exclusive interview with Kristie Kennedy, TEDx speaker, author, and the owner of Queenfidence Executive Image Consulting. Welcome to the Rock Your World Naturally show, sharing God's prescription for total health in spirit, soul, and body. I'm your host, Kristie McMillan, award-winning author, Air Force veteran, and total health coach. I'm passionate about sharing biblical truth, scientific research, and practical lifestyle approaches to help heal your world naturally. In this exclusive interview, I had the opportunity to host Kristie Kennedy. Kristie is a TEDx speaker, author, and the owner of Queenfidence Executive Image Consulting, who empowers timid women with confidence and clarity keys to find their voice, free their voice, and look fabulous exercising their voice. She is skilled in 4 areas of peak performance: mindset mastery, massive momentum, magnetic messaging, and potential maximization. If you're tired of struggling for less than you deserve, struggling to make 2 ends meet, and sinking beneath your purpose, power, and potential, in this exclusive interview, Kristie shares how Queenfidence will ignite your internal fire to reach higher. Think for a moment. Can you envision your best self standing on a mountaintop of magnificence? Take a closer look and reimagine a world beyond glass ceilings as you glide with grace on the wings of limitless possibilities. The world is your runway. We've been waiting for you to razzle and dazzle our hearts, because what is life without sparkle? Small steps create big impact, and the moment you decide to change, there is nothing that can hold you back. Your courage is to rise, living proof of what's possible. Being happy takes guts, and you can play by the rules that you write. Kristie wants you to know that now is the time to say yes to your dreams, yes to abundance, yes to truth, and yes to happiness, yes to destiny, yes to you. See it, say it, seize it, and soar into more than ever before. As you listen to this interview, you will surely hear Kristie's passion for igniting leaders who have reached an internal plateau with limitless possibilities. She's a certified emotional resilience trainer whose thought-provoking teaching style elevates your self-perception from stuck to unstoppable. Her life is a testament that you too can shift from mediocrity to magnificence, one audacious action step at a time. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome to the show TEDx speaker, author, and owner of Queenfidence Executive Image Consulting, Kristie Kennedy.
Hello, hello, hello.
I have been so looking forward to this interview, and I'm so glad that we are able to connect on today.
Oh, I'm telling you, I'm excited.
Before we start, I usually open up with an icebreaker question. So, can you just let our listeners know, what are you doing in your world right now, Kristie, that is simply rocking your world naturally?
Ooh, one of the main things is taking moments to pause. Life can get out of control really fast. I tell individuals that being an entrepreneur, it's like daily being on a roller coaster ride. You're suspended in air, and then you drop, and then it goes really fast. So for me, just taking moments to breathe, to remember to breathe and check in with myself.
Oh, I think that is so important because, like you said, we are living in a world where there's so many distractions around us. Things are going on 24/7. And I think being purposeful and intentional just to carve those moments out of our day. And a lot of times, you might hear individuals say, I don't have enough time, but we really do have to make that time to carve out those moments for ourselves.
Make that time. You said it right there.
Wow. So Kristie, you are an amazing woman. You're an entrepreneur. You've been featured as a TEDx speaker, Queenfidence Executive Image Consulting. Just so many different things of who you are. How do you find balance in your life?
Is there such a thing as balance?
That's a good question to ask in itself. Is there really such a thing as balance?
I feel like
Uh,
it's always out of balance, and hence we try to find that balance. I don't think there's going to be a perfect balance, as close as we can get to it. But for me, I honestly love living life to the fullest. So I'm honestly not thinking about balance. I'm thinking about, am I thriving? Am I passionate about my purpose? When I wake up, do I wake up excited and invigorated? That's what concerns me more than anything. To know, for me to be out of balance in my world is to not have energy, to not have my drive. Then I would know something is off. So there will be days where the living room may not be as tight as it could be, but I'm living fully. Does that make sense? So a lot of
oh,
times we put our focus on things that in the long view, it really, to me, is not as important. It's not as vital as my vitality.
that's an outstanding way to look at it. And so just really switching the lens to think about those things that are feeding you, that are nourishing you, that are bringing you joy and happiness. And when you're in that, then that's an excellent way to really look at that.
Yes, yes. But I lived so many years, Rakisha, outside of that place. In I battled depression before, anxiety, you name it, all the negative emotions. And at this stage in my life, I just honestly want to be happy. I want to be happy with my choices, happy in my marriage, happy in my business. That matters more to me than anything.
Hmm. Now, with you sharing that you are a business owner, and I love the Queenfidence Executive Image Consulting, can you share what kind of led you toward the venue of starting the consulting business that you have now?
Hmm. Yeah, the long of the short is about 6 years ago, I was released, given a pink slip, and I always tell ladies I turned it into Queenfidence. But
Mhm.
it's been a 20-year journey, evolution. People always say there is no such thing as overnight success. It is over life. And if you want to pursue your passion, your destiny, it requires that you are, one, deliberate about your decisions that you make every single day. Well, 6 years ago, when a decision was made for me, then I had to decide how I was going to respond to what was happening. And I began creating vision boards, and I now have 18 vision boards, 6 vision books, because all I had was my faith in what was possible. I had to see beyond what I was currently experiencing.
Mm.
And my background, I'm an esthetician by trade. So I've worked in beauty spas, I've taught models. And Queenfidence, it was just a natural progression of everything that I had experienced in the world of my vocational background. So it made perfect sense. Women would always come to me with confidence issues, insecurities, and even when I was in the day spas, we'd have conversations about what was bothering them internally. And I realized, as a beauty consultant, we were often taught to focus on the external, who was dealing with the internal. Like, I don't want you to be looking all beautiful and then you have no power to overcome the challenges of life.
Mm. That is so good. And I think sometimes the experiences, as you shared, that what we go through prepares us for our future destiny. And it's when we follow that path, we might not see it all on our journey there, But once we're in that moment of knowing where we're fulfilling purpose, it becomes clear of all those different steps, all those different experiences that we've had that lead us to that point of reaching back and reaching out. And oftentimes we are ministering to or speaking to that audience that we've always connected to.
Yes, reaching back. And that's one of my mottos. We lift as we climb. Everything that we've experienced, there is purpose for our pain. And oftentimes I speak with women and they say they feel like they're not good enough. They're not adequate enough to do the work that they feel called to because of the pain. But my mantra is imperfection is my superpower. And it's how I got over myself.
That's so good. Imperfection is my superpower. That's definitely a quote to really hold on to.
Yes, it's what creates the connection. It's what makes us relatable to each other. You show me my scars, and then you have the freedom and the courage to show me yours.
Absolutely. Something else that really drew me to you, Kristie, is as we are headed into 2020, there have been so many things that have been said about this year. You know, this is the year of 2020 vision, but also this is the year of the voice.
Oh, yeah.
And I have come across so many women that I've been talking to, I would say probably over the last 3-4 months as we're headed into this new year, that it is all about finding their voice. And that's one of the things that I believe that you focus on with helping women to have confidence, have clarity, and to find their voice, to free, their voice. Can you talk a little bit about that, Kristie?
Most definitely. It is one of my most blazing flames of fire. I absolutely am passionate about women using their voice. I say a voiceless woman is a powerless woman. You think about the voice. The voice can unlock doors. The voice is often underestimated. The voice can change history. When you use your voice, you can create a brand new future. I've used my voice. When they released me from that job 6 years ago, I had to speak what I wanted to see from the future as I was walking out my present. It's incredible. It's extraordinary. And I remember when my voice was caged and I was not using it. And to me, those were some of the most darkest days that I didn't even realize that I had the power to turn the light back on, that I had the power to open the prison door that I was sitting in. And I am passionate about it because when we use our voice, we can move mountains, as you know.
Oh, absolutely. And, even just as you're speaking, Kristie, just so many things are running through my mind when it comes down to our voice. And we have the ability to create, we have the ability to shape and form the world, even though it may not look like what it should be at this moment. With our voice, with our words, we can call those things that be not as though they were. Because even though the world may not look the way that it's supposed to be at this present moment, with our words, we have the ability the power to create and speak those things the way that we see them, the way that we believe that our destiny is supposed to be.
I love that. The way our destiny is supposed to be. Not what society is saying, statistics are saying, but whatever we decree, it shall be established.
Absolutely.
I asked the question this morning, how deep is your belief? Because life is going to test our convictions.
Yes. Yes, it does. In more ways than one. In more ways than one. And when those tests and when life come up against us, many times we get caught up in the situation, in the circumstance. We are moved emotionally
Mm.
versus asking, what is the purpose? Why is this coming to my life versus woe is me, and speaking from a victim mentality in a sense as to what is the purpose of this? Is there a lesson behind this? Is this come to elevate me? Has this come to push me forward? What is the purpose? What is it? Is it for me to reach a certain place to pull out that potential?
Mm.
Um, so many things that we need to think about when it comes to the power of our words.
Yes. Yes, and you're speaking from that expansive growth mentality because typically leaders are progressive. And if you really are a student of life, a student of yourself, you want to grow and you would be asking those questions as opposed to taking that victim route. That this is
Mhm.
happening to me instead of this is happening for me and this is working together for my good.
Amen. Another passion of yours, Kristie, is that it's about igniting leaders who have reached an internal plateau with limitless possibilities.
Mm.
You have a passion for that. Can you talk a little bit about how you work with women in a leadership capacity, and what are some of your your favorite areas as far as working with women and igniting those leaders in those specific areas?
Mm. Mindset mastery for peak performers. I live and breathe in that space because I know the power of a positive thought. I know the power of a negative thought. And typically, women come to me with these internal fears. That's what we have to address. We have to face Goliath head on because the only thing that's really stopping a woman is her belief set. It's her belief system and what she thinks about herself, what she thinks is possible for her to achieve. And if I can get her to step out of that limiting space and into a limitless space of believing that anything is possible, she can conquer her dreams morning, noon, and night. There will be no stopping her. And so that's the main thing we work on. Recently, one of my colleagues who has a PhD was saying that she's had this book inside of her and she's been holding on to it for the past 2 years. And she said she's not even aware of what the fear is. She can't even identify the fear.
Mm.
That goes to show you how powerful the mind is, and that fear is that it will stop you and you can't even identify what it is.
Wow. And that's so deep when you say that, because you know that it's there, but that's a time when we really have to do some inner soul work, is what I like to call it.
Yeah.
That there may have been something that happened, whether it was in childhood, your teenage years, your adult years, where that fear entered in. So it's finding and pinpointing and honing in on that. And sometimes it may be even a generational thing. Some fear, I think, is passed on. It could be inherited, you know, from those who are within our families. And so it's really honing in on and really getting insightful and purposeful and doing a little bit of soul work to really uncover and uproot what that is, because you don't want that to hold you back from achieving your highest and your greatest purpose.
Mm, mm. You hit it on the head, Rakisha, when you said that soul work. And that's a piece also. I've heard women tell me they don't feel comfortable spending time alone with themselves, but this is where you find out what you believe. This is where you confront those fears. This is where you get to know you. That was when I was on my beginning of my journey. The first question I asked myself was, who am I? Why am I here? And what type of legacy do I want to leave behind? It was alone in those quiet moments. And I thought about when you said from your past, some things that we experienced. I remember even last year when I was doing some deep inner work, something I discovered. I remember my dad teaching me how to ride the bike. And I would fall off, of course, as you're learning how to ride. And I started scarring up my knees. And he
Mhm.
you can't be a model with these scars. And
Mm,
subconsciously, that seed was planted, and I didn't even realize why I was battling perfectionism so much in my young adult and adult years. And
mm,
it all came full circle. I went back to that place. This is where it originated. That
mhm.
one very comment. So I'm always trying to hide what? Scars, hide the shame of a past mistake. And
Yeah.
in order to overcome that, I began to talk about it. I began to talk about abortion. I began to talk about date rape. You see what I'm saying? Talk about heartache and pain. Talk about being laid off.
Mhm.
To try to hold you hostage. This is the power of using your voice and saying, oh no, you will not hold me as a prisoner. I was born to be free and free indeed.
Amen. Absolutely. And I think that sometimes, oftentimes, that inner soul work is a neglected part of who we are as people.
Mm-hmm.
And some people don't understand or realize why they have challenges or struggles and not being able to move forward. But it's really about addressing those inner issues. But once you do, man, your
Mm-hmm.
future is so bright. Your future is, it's limitless. You have the ability, the potential to reach above and beyond the stars when you free yourself, giving yourself permission to know that it's okay
Yes.
to to have issues. Because guess what? We all have them,
We
but it's
have,
yeah, but it's
we are
being
all made of clay.
it's being honest with where we're at and saying, you know what? I don't have to stay here.
I love that. I don't have to stay here.
Yeah, I don't have to stay in this space.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Christy, so another thing that has happened within the past, I think you said it's been 2 years in the making. You have a new book.
Yes.
Uh, please share, share, share.
I am so excited about my baby, Queenfidence 70 Days of Rain, an inner guide to transform your life. Yes, it took 2 years and 4 months. And it goes back to the power of mindset mastery and not letting go of your vision, because our brilliance is not just for us, it's for the world. Someone needs to hear your story. And I share 70 principles of power with women who are feeling stuck and who are ready to become unstoppable.
Mm-mm-mm. I can't wait to get this. Just the title in itself and just hearing you speak about it, this will change the trajectory of your life.
Mm,
Trajectory. So
mm,
you could be going in a totally opposite direction. And just sharing information like this, the wisdom, the guidance to set a woman on the right path, on the right course to a transformational experience. I truly love that.
yes. When you think about it, when I was growing up, I made so many mistakes, Rakisha, and I wonder how different life would have been if I had a wise woman in my ear saying, "These are
Mm,
some things that I learned. You want to avoid this." I mean, I know I wouldn't have dated several of the young men that I dated, and I remember reading a quote that said, "We dated the level of our self-esteem. What if
mm,
my self-esteem was higher back then?"
mhm,
Lot less heartache and pain. And even from those experiences, when I finally met the love of my life, I still had all types of emotional baggage from those relationships, and it almost caused me to miss out on my
mm.
dream mate. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I want to circumvent these issues from occurring in the younger women's lives, and so that they'll know without a shadow of a doubt that they're worthy of honor and respect, even in the workplace, being able to get paid for what you're worth.
Mhm. This is so good, and I love the fact where you said you wish that if you had a woman who was alongside of you that could have just spoken these things into your life, it would have helped you to make some wiser decisions,
Yes.
some wiser choices. So, ladies, for those of you that are listening out there today, and even men who have women in your life, this is a book that I highly encourage you to make a part of your empowerment library.
Mm.
And so, Kristie, for those individuals who are listening, where can they find your book? How can they get a hold of it?
Yes, it is now available on Amazon.com. You just type in Queenfidence 70 Days of Reign and Inner Guide to Transform Your Life. You will see it there. Purple with a crown. I'm passing the crown of wisdom. And what I love about this guide is that every single day you get a letter from me. And at the end, I'm coaching you through your own journey. And I ask you 5 questions. I call it my confidence prescription. So you get a C pill and you do the work, because that's for the paralyzed, and doing that daily work.
Absolutely. Putting the work in will get you to where you need to be. Absolutely. So the new self-empowerment book, Queenfidence, 70 Days of Reign, an inner guide to transform your life. Again, highly encourage those of you that are listening to go to Amazon to make this book a part of your transformational library. So Kristie, with the work that you do, can you share, how faith and spirituality have helped you in your current work that you're doing right now?
Mm. Faith is everything to me. It is the air that I breathe. It is my lifeline, Rakisha. I would be a nutcase without it. And I remember speaking to a coach, and he said, read the story called The Angel That Troubled the Waters. And there was this soul stirring question there. And the question was, without your wound, where would your power be? And that right there shifted the way I looked at all of my pain, because I remember being a shack of brokenness, and it was my faith that rebuilt me from the inside out, taking one scripture at a time. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. I give you power to get wealth. It was literally one brick at a time. Every single word, I was building myself up on my most holy faith, and allowed me to withstand the test of time, adversity. The winds of adversity have blown, and let me tell you, they've blown hard, and I'm still because of my faith. And I tell ladies, I could not live without faith. It really is everything to me.
That was so beautiful. And that soul stirring question that you asked that was in that book, without your wound, where would you be?
Where would your power be?
Oh my gosh, where would your power be? And so when we think about, those things that we have been through in our lives, that have, had we not gone through those things, Kristie, would we be in the place or the positions that we are in today, or advancing forward to? That is a powerful, powerful question. Without your wound, where would your power be?
Yeah, because you think when you're in pain, Rakisha, it makes you make a decision. Either you're going to be powerful or you're going to be powerless. Either you're going to fight or you're going to faint. And it's like you come to yourself, your real self, or you just fade away. And it's such a critical crossroad moment. And it's where greatness is birthed. Am I going to stay here, like you said earlier, or am I going to go where I know I was destined to go, where no one is there to go, where I haven't even had the courage to go before? Pain will inspire you.
Yes. Wow.
Love.
That's so good. That is so good. Wow. So for those of our listeners that are out there, Kristie, that are looking for someone that could help them in the area of their queenfidence and finding their inner voice and moving forward, where can they find you out there in the internet world?
Yes. My home base is queenfidence.com. QUEENFIDENCE.com, where the crowns meet.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Are there any other parting words that you would like to share with our listeners today, Kristie?
Mm. For those that are in that cage of fear that we talked about earlier, Rakisha, just remember your passion must be greater than your petrification. And when your passion really gets to the point that it needs to be, there are no obstacles that will keep you down. It would allow you to bulldoze through barriers that are uncommon to man. One of my favorite quotes is, "She believed she could, so she did."
Mm.
Have to have a bodacious belief and a radical resilience. It is 1000% possible, but know that it will not be without a fight. And so I believe your destiny is worth fighting for. Your peace of mind is worth fighting for. Your relationships are worth fighting for. Your vocation, whatever it is you put your hands to, is worth fighting. So when you get in those moments, you think it's difficult. I go back to TD Jake's words: if it were easy, anybody could do it. And you're not anybody.
All right. Oh, I have thoroughly enjoyed our time together, Kristie, and I know that there are going to be so many out there who will be inspired, who will be transformed by your book, by the work that you are doing. And so I just pray many blessings upon you, and that you would just continue to go forward and be that light and that voice that so many women need out there today.
Thank you. I appreciate you and the work that you're doing, even creating a platform for us. And I thank you so much for that. You're just an absolute joy to be around.
Thank you so much, Kristie. It has been my pleasure.
For health tips, faith-based education, and inspiration, visit www.rockyourworldnaturally.com and on Facebook at Facebook.com/rockyourworldnaturally and Twitter at twitter.com/rockyourworld28.